once described by a maitre d' as the visa man because he is everywhere you need him to be. Kevin Kimbrough is as creative as he is versatile. From the front of the house to the back, he has excelled in covering every aspect of a restaurant. He designs unparalleled ice sculptures, exquisite vegetable art, and even produced a line of designer pies for a restaurant when the supplier failed to deliver. It is his resourcefulness that has made him invaluable wherever he goes. A product of the Kansas City, Missouri Manual Tech High School as a junior, Kevin won the gold medal in Missouri State Skills USA competition his first time out. After demonstrating a high level of maturity, he was hired as the youngest cook at the Hyatt Regency Hotel shortly thereafter. Kevin rose through the ranks, becoming a cook 2, 3, cook supervisor, a sous chef, and executive sous chef. Presently, he is an executive chef at one of the largest hotel chains in the world. Exceeding every expectation of his employers, Kevin enjoys a reputation of being resilient, versatile, unflappable, and exciting. He is as comfortable behind the scenes as he is conducting a wine dinner tasting. He has been featured by various media outlets, The Pitch, the Kansas City Star, CBS, and NBC affiliates respectively. Currently, he can be seen as the chef on the nationally syndicated program Urban Outdoor America. Thank you, Kevin, for being with us today. So, Kevin, tell us how you got started with cooking. What sparked your interest?
That's a difficult question just because there was so much. I mean, being 5, 6 years old and couldn't use the stove and going into the refrigerator and mixing up whatever cold ingredients I could and creating these amazing dishes in my mind, but they were actually really disgusting. But kind of growing from that, but I kind of always had this passion. And, kids were, when I was a kid, everybody's talking, oh, what are you going to be when you grow up and this and that. I just always knew I was going to be a chef. It was kind of a simple answer for me.
So what was your favorite dish then? I mean, even watching, what was your favorite
At that
dishes
age?
coming up? Yes.
Ramen noodles.
Okay.
That's just where I started. I kind of got creative and could do anything with that, and then started watching more cooking shows and reading more books, and started getting into sauces and mainly the French sauces, and kind of developing from that as I got a little more educated in culinary.
Well, as a child though, what was your most interesting dish?
I'd have to say just altogether, it's hard to say one dish, but just kind of Southern style soul food, kind of what I grew up with, and still have that passion for it, and kind of. That's where I got the base as a kid, and got that love for cooking, watching my mother and grandmother in the kitchen, doing their thing, and kind of spinning off of that.
So you always had that in you. So tell us about Manual Tech, a school that you went to. I believe it's over in Kansas City, Missouri.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, tell us about your interest in going there and your experiences there.
That was a life changer for me. The instructor over there is Dennis Sherrist, and he was hard on me and, really gave me that base of the professional world of cooking. I always had that passion, and, what I thought at the time was a lot of education in it. He kind of broke me down and made me realize what the industry was really all about, and got me into competing and dealing with VICA and things like that.
Tell us about VICA.
VICA is a great organization across the United States, and what they do is they take high school and college level students, and whatever your trade is, whether it's culinary, engineering, they train you, and you go to these competitions once a year. And you start with you start with state and then go to nationals. And they took me up to state, which was over at CMSU, and took me up there, and was blessed enough to win first in the state and got a gold medal there, and got the opportunity to go to nationals.
And that was your first year
That was my first year.
That was your first year there, so that was quite an amazing
Yeah.
accomplishment. What dish did you prepare or did you present to the judges that made them just kind of take a look at you?
Well, it was like a 4-part thing. You started out and you had to take a chicken and debone the whole thing. So I took the chicken, deboned it, so took the bones out of that, made a stock, and then a sauce, and then a chicken dish, and then a cold vegetable tray, and displayed that and garnished that. And I guess that year is just happened to be a good one for me.
So, deboning a chicken. Is this the whole chicken?
Yeah, you take the whole chicken and start at the breastplate and take that off all the way to the back, and you separate that into 8 different pieces. And you always save the bones and the innards and do your sauces out of that.
Okay. Okay.
Once you do it once, I swear you're happy to see.
Okay. Okay. So from winning the gold, you caught the attention of one of the judges.
Yeah, the one of the judges at Nationals actually was the executive sous chef at the Hyatt, and also my instructor knew the executive chef of the Hyatt. So through those two connections, got my first job very early.
Okay.
In a big kitchen.
Tell us about your experience with that job.
I tell you what, my first day on the job, the executive chef came to the back and I was grilling chickens off and kind of asked me, so what days do you think you want off every week? And I realized at the time he was messing with me. Replied, hey, Saturday, Sunday be nice. And he laughed and walked off. He came back and said, no, those are working days. You don't get days off. And so my first day on the job, I wanted to quit.
Okay.
So yeah, I don't like this anymore. But I stuck with it, and through there, I gained a lot of experience. I worked at every outlet there: the fine dining, the steakhouse, the breakfast, all the banquets. So gained a lot of experience and really gave me a great base as the professional part of the industry.
So but working at the Hyatt, your first job, what level did you start off?
Oh, very bottom.
Very bottom.
$6.25 an hour.
And what was your position title?
Well, the way they do it at a lot of hotels, and the way I have it set up at my hotel, is you start off lowest level as cook 1, all the way up to cook 5, which is your supervisor. Then you move to sous chef, executive sous chef, and executive chef.
Okay, and so you start at the very bottom.
I was a cook 1.
What does a cook 1 do?
You're the grunt guy. You do all the prep, you stay late, you work in the hottest parts of the kitchens, all the dirty work, and if you can survive that, keep moving your way up the belt. And
give me a visual of what a fine dining restaurant would look like in the kitchen, because of course very few people get to take a look back there, but give us a visual of the kitchen area back there.
Well, it's kind of funny. A lot of people don't realize what's really going on behind the scenes there, but you take like a fine dining restaurant and you have a lot of people that, in the production process of putting out one dish. So you have somebody just putting one thing on a plate, a lot of times with a plate that may have, 6 different things on it. So you may have one person just working the cold side, doing cold ingredients, blanching your vegetables. One person's just searing meat, one person's just grilling meat, and then you have a chef on the other side, and he kind of puts it all together with the garnish. So that one plate that gets out to your table may have 7 people that have touched it to make it, this fabulous dish that, the chef was trying to create.
Wow. Okay. So then you got your start at the Hyatt and moved on to your second job. Where was that?
Well, it's funny actually. When I left the Hyatt, I decided I wanted to see the other side of the the industry. So I went to serving and bartended. And through that, at an Italian restaurant I was working at, I got a connection with the executive chef at the American restaurant, which is, I think at the time was the only 4-star restaurant in Kansas City. So got the opportunity to go up there and become a sous chef, and really got into the fine dining world and a lot of connections, and met a lot of cool chefs from around the country.
Creating these connections. I mean, when you worked at the Italian restaurant, you said, then you got the connection with another chef. Now, do they go around recruiting when they see you? I mean,
it goes
the process that
it goes all different
through.
ways, because it could be maybe I'm working at a restaurant that you own, and another chef comes in and likes the dish, and well, who's your chef back there? Who's your sous chef? And so connections are growing like that. The one I had was just the GM was actually great friends with the exec chef at the American, so it was just a lucky position.
So if they like the dish, they ask for the chef.
Well, what they do is they start, like in a position like that, they go, okay, well, I like what you can do. We sing you, cook here, we sing you serve here, and I've heard about you. Why don't you come in for a stage? So basically that means you come in and work an 8-hour shift for free. And they kind of, stage. And they see, okay, either you can cook and you can handle this kitchen or you can't. So it's kind of a test.
Wow. So I guess what I'm getting from this is by word of mouth, you get to move up.
Especially in a city like Kansas City.
Okay. So a head chef or executive chef would call you in, come in for a stage, like what you're doing, and offer you a position on the spot?
You go through about, depending on how high the position is,
Okay.
could be up to about 6 interviews, but.
Okay. You have to prepare other meals for them?
Yeah, they'll, like for a cook position, a lot of the times they'll tell you to do a stage, and you come in and you work the line with everybody. At exec level or sous chef level, they ask you to come in and do a tasting out of a black box. So basically, they'll put a box together with, a meat, a vegetable, whatever whatever they find around the kitchen, put it all in a box and give it to you and say, all right, you got 15 minutes to, or 45 minutes to an hour to make 3 dishes out of whatever they give you.
Okay, all right. So
it was fun.
Your first time doing that?
That was my first time, yeah.
I mean, at your first time doing it, what was that like? I mean,
it was a little nerve-wracking, but you kind of go back to everything you've been trained with and keep yourself calm. And as long as you have the bases and know your regular sauces and you know your proteins well enough, it's not as hard as you would think to come through blindly and create a dish.
And you got your start, of course, at the culinary school from.
I did go to Johnson County for a while.
You did, okay.
And then before that the culinary school at Manual Tech, and that really gave me the base to understand all that and grow from it.
Mm-hmm. Because I'm sorry, I wouldn't know what to do. Someone gave me a box.
It takes a minute sometimes, but
yeah, and it would take me longer than 15 minutes. So after your cook 1, cook 2, you go to the executive levels or the sous chef. Tell me what a sous chef does.
A sous chef, I was talking about the cook 1 is like the kind of grunt guy in the kitchen as far as the cooks. The sous chef is kind of the grunt guy in the kitchen as far as the chefs or management. So your sous chef is going to be the one that works the line. He probably has more one-on-one communication with all your cooks than the exec chef will even.
Okay.
But he's really the heart of your kitchen, your sous chef, and he's the leader of your kitchen, and you have the exec chef that kind of oversees it all.
And you've had experiences with both?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And it was a good experience to work your way up through the ladders like that.
Now, as you're moving up, is there any particular position that you would say, I'd like to go back to that one, because that was a little...
there's things I would always want to go back and do different, but through those mistakes and whatnot, I think I've grown. When I was exec chef at the President Hotel, the executive sous chef at the President Hotel, I ran the drum room. So, looking back on that, it's like, wow, I really had a good time running a Cuban-style restaurant and doing things like that. And you kind of look at that and say, maybe I wouldn't want to go back to it, but I'd like to do something kind of like that again.
Okay. All right. Well, we're going to take a break. We're going to look at a clip from one of your experiences cooking. Tell us about what we're going to be seeing.
Well, recently I've had the opportunity to be a part of a show called Urban American Outdoors. It's kind of a hunting, fishing, excursion kind of show.
We'll get to that part later. But tell us about the dish, just a little bit.
Oh, well, on this I did a pheasant and took a wild game or pheasant and did a little bit of a twist on it and put a sole kind of fried southern chicken on it. So, we'll see. It came out okay.
Okay, well, let's take a look at that clip.
All right, you ready?
Whoa.
Sizzle.
You get the sizzle, right? You like that, right? All right, what do I keep saying? Are we looking for fire or smoke?
Smoke.
Smoke
Brings out the flavor.
My man, he's listening.
We're back with Kevin Kimbrough. Tell us about this magnificent, delicious meal that we just saw a clip of.
Well, that was one of the ones I did on our spinoff of Urban American Outdoors, and the portion of mine was called Urban Soul Wild. And Wayne Hubbard went out and with his team, and they shot fresh wild game pheasant and brought that back to me, and we decided that we kind of want to do a down-home southern dish out of it.
Okay, explain to us who are not familiar with wild pheasant, or you said wild game. Tell us what that is.
It's basically just the hunt. So, your deer, venison, things like that, your antelopes, food that you've actually gone out and harvested yourself. That's kind of your idea of wild game, things that have never been in a domestic environment and are completely wild and hunted.
Okay. Okay. So tell us, how did you prepare this wild pheasant?
Well, we brought this in, and I just took it and threw some of my own little spices in there, some of my favorite spices, and tried to keep the concept of what I was raised with, and that down-home southern heart that I kind of kept with me and put in with the style that I developed throughout the years of cooking. So you kind of wanted to make it rustic, but still give it that authentic gourmet style, if you will. Okay, so you fried it, which was
unusual.
We took the spices, soaked it in buttermilk, and let it sit in there for 15 minutes. Let the buttermilk kind of break down the proteins a little bit to help make it a little bit more tender. And had that with the spices, dusted it in flour, just kind of simplistic. Kind of the way Mother did it without the brown bag.
Kind of, about being a chef. Do you ever share your secrets with other people, family members?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, really? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Because a lot of cooks won't do that.
I know
A lot
some
of
people
chefs-
kind of hold it, and for
Mom's
me,
recipe.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, for me, I've gained so much from learning other people's styles and recipes that it seems kind of selfish to hold all that to yourself. So as much information that I have, I always try to pass off to the people that are interested or want to learn or want to be a chef, and kind of give that opportunity to them of what I learn. And it's kind of the circle of life, the circle of the kitchen kind of thing.
Okay. Well, along with the pheasant and wild game that you've cooked, you've also done many other recipes. And tell us about some of the other things that you've experienced with that are very good.
Well, on the show, he's brought in a lot of really good product for me. So it's kind of given me the opportunity to kind of open up my mind, because when you're dealing with wild game, the problem with it, or not really the problem, but one of the keys with it is that you have a different flavor from it being wild. So, for instance, a deer that was caught in the wild compared to a farm-raised deer, it's going to have a lot more blood flow through the muscles. So you're going to get a different flavor, which they call a gaminess, to the meat. So it's kind of being creative and realizing how to, alleviate that gaminess and bring out the full flavor of the meat. One of the dishes we did, I took the venison, tenderloin, and we seared that off with a little peppercorn and did a chocolate sauce with it. And that's one of the keys to kind of really help cover up the gaminess, but still have that natural flavor in with it.
So the gaminess, is that an awkward taste? Or
well, it's a flavor that potentially could overpower the protein. So you want it there for the authentic flavor, but if you're not careful, that's all you'll taste.
Okay.
So it's a matter of learning how to, kind of get that out of the upfront flavor of the meat and, get it towards the background flavor of it.
Okay. Any desserts that you...
No, I haven't hit on a lot of desserts yet.
Okay.
And, I'm working on that. The pastry field really is my favorite. So,
Okay. Okay.
I kind of shy away from it when I can.
Okay. So tell us what your projects are right now. I mean, what are you doing right now?
Right now I'm currently the executive chef at the Holiday Inn, KC Sports Complex. And with that, we're also on the show. We're in the process of doing some other things with it and spinning off to some other networks possibly and things like that.
Well, tell us about the urban show.
The show is it's Wayne Hubbard's show. It's Urban American Outdoors.
Okay.
And he's done some amazing things with a lot of his hunting excursions, and I had the opportunity for him to bring me in and kind of help us with the cooking side of it. And
and the spinoff is called,
the spinoff of what I'm on is Urban Soul Wild.
Okay, Urban Soul Wild. Okay. And that's you.
That's
featuring you.
my portion. It's fun. So we're trying to do some other things with the show. We have some different things going on around the city and working with some small businesses and kind of putting the name of the show out there and seeing what we can do with some other networks possibly.
Okay.
Just kind of seeing where it goes from there.
Any special request from anyone asking you to cook something that's or?
It's funny. I have actually through the hotel. With some of the banquet events that we've done, there's a couple coming up where, kind of funny to say this, but I'm being auctioned off to to cook in certain people's houses. So they have their auctioning, they're giving away different things from around the city that have been donated, and I've been one of those items that have been donated. So
wow.
Things like that, I'll do a few times where somebody come in and say, it's for local charities, and say, okay, well, the chef comes to your house and he talks to you and you create a menu and you have a dinner party and the chef comes in and cooks for you, and then you always have the ones coming up to you throughout the day, or, well, I saw you do this on the show, or I saw you do this last night for dinner, how'd you do this, what's the recipe? And like I said, I'm always willing to hand out that information.
Has anyone come like in the restaurant and asked for you personally, or want to know, is Kevin here today?
Well, certain times, but it's not like, a big thing, but it's always fun when someone that knows me or a friend of a friend or whatnot comes in and kind of get to spin off from the menu, and I'll do my own little kind of dishes, my own menu, and put that out there and have a little fun with it.
Well, I'm proud to say I have tasted your creations, and they were very tasty.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you very much. Anything out there you want to say? Any last words? It's going to be Urban. It's at Urban. The name of the show. I'm sorry.
Urban American Outdoors.
Urban American Outdoors. The spinoff is Urban Soul.
Urban Soul Wild.
Okay, so we're going to be watching out for that to be on TV soon. Hopefully.
Hopefully, the pheasant episode was the first one, not that we shot, but the first one that got to air. So we have a lot more going out.
Have a lot more coming out. Well, thank you for being with us today,
and
we're looking forward to seeing you more, and hopefully get you over here to cook.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay, well, thank you for being with us
thank
today, and thank you.